Hey, we're at a pretty interesting moment in the lifespan of Apple, a company that you really know from its very beginnings. Is it going to be hard to shake the perception of the company as a true phone maker, reliant on hardware, reliant on cycles?
Yeah, well, I think it's hard to shake the perception of the company that way because the iPhone is so ubiquitous and so associated with Apple that for people to think about it in other ways is going to take a lot of marketing. Luckily, they are pretty good at marketing, but they have to execute.
And that involves what? Is that going to involve spending a ton of money on their original content? Do you believe they can break bread with Hollywood in ways that Silicon Valley companies have a hard time doing historically?
Well, they have had relatively better relationships with Hollywood than some of the other pure tech companies. But I don't think that they are in the same business as, let's say, Disney's new streaming service just announced. I don't know for sure. I don't have inside information, but here's what I think is going on. We all know they have an original slate of programming coming, and they have huge names, Oprah and Steven Spielberg and Reese Witherspoon. I think that's not the main part of what they're doing. I think the main part of what they're doing is software. And it's this TV app that's been around for a long time. It's on your iPhone, it's on your iPad, it's on your Mac, or coming to your Mac, it's on your Apple TV. And I think what they are really going to do is try to become a central single sign-on and subscription point for other people's services, kind of the way Amazon has tried to do with Prime, and then layer it with this slate of original programming.
Walt, I feel like this is forcing people to become acquainted with Apple really for the first time. I mean, back years ago, before the iPhone, even before retail stores, Apple wasn't some perennial hit maker where every couple of years they had some product that changed the entire world. They were kind of this company that was following its heart, that had this religious devotion to design, and kind of like the liberal art student who people thought would never amount to anything.
Right.
Right now, is it a period where we have to believe in Apple's core, that it can do that again and come up with something else, but it might take years?
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. But I don't think it's an either or thing, John. I think they still are working on some new hardware and software initiatives, notably augmented reality glasses, where I think they have invested a lot of money and have a lot of people working. They're not the only company trying to do that, but they're working on it in a very serious way. Whether they'll succeed, I don't know. Remember, the services business has grown very, very robustly at Apple, and if they pull this next thing off, it will grow even more robustly, but it doesn't measure up to the kind of sales and impact and presence that the iPhone has, or even the iPad. I mean, it's been 9 years since their last big, giant kind of product, which was the iPad. 9 years. So they can pivot to do more and more services, and they are. And they've had some success, for instance, with Apple Music, which I think you have to count as a success. But they can't get out of the hardware and software business, and I see no indication they're doing that.
What about the smartwatch, the Apple Watch, in light of that, Walt? I mean, there's certainly a lot of skepticism around that product initially, too, but it's growing. And if you look back at some of the comments Tim Cook has made lately, I mean, he's really vocalized how key healthcare will be to the company moving forward and into the future. Is there a lot more opportunity there that maybe is being overlooked by investors?
I think that's a terrific point, Morgan. Not only the Apple Watches, which has become, I mean, they are the biggest watch company in the world, which no one would have predicted when it first came out. Not only is it the biggest selling smartwatch, but it's bigger than the whole Swiss watch industry. And the other product, which you didn't mention, but I know you are very well acquainted with, that's a huge hit, are AirPods, the wireless, earbuds, and which are being copied, like all Apple products always get copied. And I think, but which there's, as far as I know, they're selling every pair they can make at quite a good margin. And both of those products are really products that could be the vessels for health, a whole huge health business. Not obviously, the watch already has a lot of health features in it and health benefits to owners of the watch. If you fall down suddenly, the watch is going to call the authorities and your contacts, that kind of thing. It does cardiograms. And the AirPods, I believe, will eventually also have health sensors and health capabilities in them.
Huh. So when Tim Cook tells Cramer that Apple's legacy in 20, 30 years will be about health, you think that's something more than happy talk?
I do. Well, I think it's what Tim Cook believes, and he is, in my experience with him, he's a very sort of sincere person. I don't mean to suggest, he is a CEO of a company. He does want to say something that is positive for the company and future looking, but he's not making stuff up. They have large investments and large numbers of people, they have whole buildings devoted to health stuff, and they're very, very serious about it.